Well, hi everybody. How's it going? This is on the radar again. Can't help it really. I really have to shift my browsing and reading into the evening. I don't need as much brain power really to browse. And then if I want to keep notes on anything, I can always bookmark or save it to notes and deal with it later. But sometimes in the morning, I just can't help it. I get up pretty early and do some things, and then I peruse what's going on, and then I get wound up about it. And hours later, I just want to talk about it. I can't go down to the cafe here or something like that, so here I am on YouTube. So I saw a piece, a video with Danny Haifong and Brian Baratek. Let me put on my glasses. Sorry. Brian Berlatic. So Danny is a socialist activist and researcher and writer and analyst. So for some people, obviously, the S word, they'll just say idiot, dumbass, whatever. You know, from a socialist point of view, everything's nasty. Because what we should be doing is spending all our resources supporting global capitalism and GDP growth and consumerism and extractionism and accelerationism and all of that fun stuff so that we can get rich, go into the prosperity gospel revival and hearing about how God wants you to be rich, listening to Donald Trump telling you how you're going to be so rich after all the tariffs kick in and all the things go on. Danny, I'll just tell you, he's a socialist activist, writer, and political analyst. He contributes to a whole bunch of stuff, Mint Press News, Counterpunch. I look at those. The American Herald Tribune. He's involved with global research and published in other places around the world. Your average Bob who knows everything and is a Western supremacist thinks Danny's dumb because, you have to go around the world and take things over for Christendom. I've got my Crusader pendant on. So, you have to, people don't realize Jerusalem, has a history going back 2,000 years BC. And it's changed over and over again as empires come and go over the centuries. And, it's never been just one thing. But today in 2025, we still have to invest in bombing poor people so that we can control the ground that they live on. When the settlers went out to California, they encountered these native people who used to burn, controlled burning, like they do in Aboriginals do in Australia, or did, because they found out over hundreds and hundreds of years that it was good for the environment, that it prevented disasters and helped with the land and everything like that, the watershed. But whites came out and they wanted to commercialize everything, own it and make it produce profits. So they had to kill all of the natives so that they wouldn't have any trouble from them. And then, of course, we have these disastrous fires because things are going to burn. We want to build on it, so we wait. And then it encroached into LA this time, and it hurt people, so that's bad. But nature will do what it's going to do. I don't know why people are so resistant to learning about how nature works, in particular biology, ecosystems, and so on. These complex systems upon which we depend for our existence. But the shiny bits, the exciting parts are more fun. Also, we're easily programmed to believe things, so we're hearing narratives 24/7. Eventually, we adopt them, we get comfortable with them, they kind of program the way we think. Then we identify with them, so they become integral to our identity. So we can't veer off of them. Plus, because of the identity issues, identity politics, as if the right and the left don't have them on equal measure. You identify with something, you gain status in a group for believing in QAnon or whatever. And so you're incentivized because of you get positive attention and feedback if you believe something stupid. And so you adopt it, and then you defend it. You can't imagine life without that. It works for ideologies, all kinds of belief systems, religion, cults, dumbass stuff. Another one of Musk's rockets blew up. I don't know how many of these have to blow up. They print money to subsidize Musk and bombs, but they don't print it for other things, It all goes into the corporate machine, and all these people in Europe, they're part of the revolving door as well. So they work for private corporations, then they go into public service, and they're getting compensated all the while, getting richer and richer, and enjoying their in-group and identifying with their ideologies and belief systems, and gaining status in their cliques. And I think what these guys, Danny Haifong and Brian Joseph Thomas Berlitic, who wrote for over 10 years under the pen name Tony Cartalucci. He's a geopolitical researcher and writer based in Bangkok, Thailand. His work covers world events from Southeast Asia perspective. And he has the new Atlas report since 2021. I think he's a very bright kid. He was in the Marines from the age of 17 after graduating high school. He's not a pushover. He's a smart kid. And I think his analysis is bang on. But of course, Bobs around the world, white supremacists, Western supremacists will say, oh no, he's dumb, he's an idiot. Because free markets solve all problems, climate change is a hoax, and so on and so forth. So, these libertarian and conservative perspectives are very powerful because people make a lot of money adopting them. A lot more than Greta earns from her climate thing or, her activism. She really doesn't get as rich as other people do when they become right-wing. There's more incentives on that side because we can get a lot with money. So who's not incentivized by money? Anyway, they were talking about Trump being the peace president, which is on the face of it absurd if you understand his first term. And what clique he's in, he's part of the Uncle Sam machine. And Uncle Sam is a dark triad vandal addicted to the 7 deadly sins, whose hegemony is the most important thing to Uncle Sam because he needs to control material resources and energy resources to continue to profit. They don't have long-term thinking, so they're not going to think about what natives would think about controlled burning or protecting their watershed or environment. They're not concerned with that. They don't care. You got to make money every quarter. That's all that matters. Trump says he's not looking at the stock market now. Why would he? It went down. He only looks at it if it goes up, and then he takes the credit for it. If it goes down, it's not a problem. It's a temporary blip. And for most hedge fund managers or people who short markets or people who invest heavily and play the game, the stocks and bonds and all that, they don't mind that much because, it's a cheaper stock. So, when it goes down, maybe you can buy low and it'll go up again because they're going to pump it up anyway. So they're talking about the ridiculous idea that Trump's a peace president. Obviously, he's not. He's willing to bomb poor people without hesitation and threaten Mexico and everywhere else. He doesn't care about war. The basic ideological core of people in the States, players in the States, is that they have to put a lid on China and Russia because they're potentially heavy competitors of the West. And the West gave up a long time ago. They financed with money and tech transfer the growth of China for decades. They want American oligarchs to run Russia, not Russian oligarchs. They want American oligarchs to run Ukraine, not Ukrainian oligarchs. So that's what it's all about, winning the great game, controlling more and more, because what do you give a guy who already has $6 billion more control? That's just the name of the game. They talk about it quite eloquently and correctly, in my opinion. They really do, and I wish people would watch it. It's on Danny Haifeng's YouTube channel. It just came out, and the title is Macron Charges to World War III with Russia. The basic premise here that they're discussing is that now the United States is trying to push NATO into the proxy war. So we're not going to fight. We're not going to finance it. It's your problem. You go die fighting Russia so that our oligarchs can move in to Russia when we win the war. So what I'm thinking is, would you risk nuclear war to put oligarchs in Russia? Is that something your average Joe, ordinary person would want to take a risk on? I know a lot of people don't believe climate's a problem. It's not just climate. Climate's a symptom. It's a manifestation of inputs that have changed the atmospheric chemistry of our world. And these inputs came from our activity, anthropogenic, human-caused. And so it's heating up the planet rapidly. So it's not like in nature's time. It's a rapid heating due to our behavior. We need a lot of energy to support the kind of lifestyle we have and want. So in the absence of mini fusion reactors everywhere and extracting minerals from other planets, from the Oort cloud or whatever, to get the materials to make all this stuff, we have a problem maintaining energy because of peak fossil fuel and whatever. And it is limited, right? It's going to run out. But if we had unlimited energy, that would just mean that we have to use all the resources we have on the planet eventually over time to fuel the growth and the profits of these lunatics who are very closed-minded, dogmatic, and deluded. And then we'd have to be a multi-planet species to continue the great game. We have to, we kill all the natives, the brutes, the savages, so we can move in with our Christendom and our better way of doing everything and thinking about the universe, however magical or not. And then we have to go out into the universe and do it in a kind of a Borg sci-fi way. Take over the whole universe because we're God's gift or God's creatures or because we're so smart or whatever. It never ends. But of course, we're not going to get there because extinction's going to happen before we get there. My opinion is if we took our time with AI and other technologies and minded our planet, if we were good economists, if we cared about our home and life, we would be able to gradually develop technologies within a wise framework that was sustainable and healthy for people. But as long as we're going to compete for the spoils, for the quick cash, quarterly cash, among our neighbors in other nation states, we're never going to get there. So killing a bunch of people in a war is not going to help anybody at this point. We've been through all this since we industrialized and became modern and high tech. It started hundreds of years ago, but in particular since the Industrial Revolution, better guns, better weapons, uh, and more technology in terms of signals intelligence and radio and television, better ways to propagandize, to get populations to buy into these wars. You have to build the fear, right? In some ways, I think the AI thing, the LLM, large language model, chat GPT, open AI thing is almost like a pump and dump scheme in the same sense that these wars are, because you have to gin up fear of Russian and China, Sinophobia, Russophobia, and all this kind of thing. The blacks are more dangerous. Decades ago, people just took it at face value that black people were just more prone to violence and crime than white people, and we've thought that for ages, Europeans. You have this Eurocentric, Euro supremacy, white supremacy thing going on for a long time. And that fueled by religion, and not fueled by religion, but protected. It's a framework, it gives you the framework to believe you're more righteous and better than everybody else, and you can have God's word support you. You interpret it however you want to. And so we get to this point now, we know what the consequences of these devastating world wars are, but we still think we need them. Have we wised up? Have we learned anything? Have we progressed in any spiritual or intellectual or wisdom sense to where we can abandon these stupid, destructive, horrific behaviors? It's ridiculous. And it gets us nothing. And who's going to die this time? Your kid? Your children? Who's going to sign up? Are all these gig economy, nomad workers who want to travel the world and post on Instagram, are they going to go fight? I wonder how many people in Europe, I really want to go out and talk to people in Portugal, young people. You want to go fight Russians? Why? What's the point? Do you really think they're after you? It's like the Red Scare. Were the commies under everybody's bed? What happens if you let a Central American country govern themselves under socialist principles? Does it wreck your life in Texas? I don't think so. You can live and let live. If China builds a better drone for taking beautiful movie pictures, or Japan makes a nice camera like this Lumix one I'm using here, are you going to compete with them in America, or are you just going to blow up Japan? Well, you don't care about Japan because Japan pays up to the boss. It bumps up some protection money to Uncle Sam, so you let it go. But as soon as it doesn't, then you'd want to kill Japan. Why Japan was so violent in World War II, there's complex reasons for that. But a lot of that had to do with just Western humiliation for 100 years. From Admiral Perry onward, just like encroaching and humiliating, until they felt like the only thing they could do was become imperial and colonial like the West, and do it as brutally as the West. I'm not saying they learned everything from the West, because they had civil wars in Japan for hundreds and hundreds of years. They were extremely violent to one another. But it helps when you pressure somebody, right? Like we live and let live in the neighborhood, and then one day I just start encroaching on your property, giving you shit, bullying your children, stealing your stuff, and pushing in, and pretty soon you feel like you have to fight back. That happens, right? I mean, there are reasons we do things. You don't just wake up one morning and say, well, the emperor is God, and let's go bomb Pearl Harbor. There's a long build up to it. The war starts way before it gets kinetic. There are reasons for it. Sometimes it's just, I want to take your stuff. That's good enough reason. Sometimes it's like, you insulted my wife, so the king has to get a bunch of people together and go fight the other king, or whatever the reasons are. But we should be diffusing that, taking away reasons to go to war and have these kinds of horrific conflicts. We can make Gaza into the beautiful city on the Mediterranean if we just let Palestinians be free and do what they want to do, which is probably have a nice community and a nice city. And then Trump can go in and build a freaking resort there. And with the Palestinian people, it's odd that we ally with certain types, but we're attracted to people that are kind of like us. So I want power, I want strength, and I want to control the resources too, and I'm going to help you. Don't worry, I'll be a producer. And bump up to the boss. So, the idea is that America wants to go in, it wants to control Russia, to put pressure on China, because it doesn't want to compete with China, because China wants to do what? Take away your cheeseburgers, ruin the NFL, destroy the UFC, wreck your porn sites, your OnlyFans websites, destroy your fast food chains, tell you can't drive an electric truck or whatever. I don't think so. There's no evidence for it. So if you want to go and look at all the evidence, if you're talking about who's bullying who, you can look at it and you can find lines of evidence and you can point to it. And that's all these independent journalists are doing, really. All the other mainstream journalists in general are just reading a script. They're delivering the propaganda and the public relations memos to you. And you have, 30 minutes in the morning to watch Fox News or ABC or France 24, BBC or whatever the heck, RT, whatever it is. And that's it. That's the end of your learning about the world. Maybe you read a newspaper online for a few seconds, browse the headlines. You're not going to read a long read and think about it and look at the references and the footnotes and try to, think about it. It's too taxing. It's too hard for us, so we don't want to do that. It's easier to believe what they tell us. And so we do. So the whole idea that Harris or Trump or anybody would do anything other than obey the logic of their system. In other words, this warmongering is a feature, not a bug, of the system. And corruption, double standards, hypocrisy is a feature of politics, period. It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's built in. It's necessary. So they're not going to help us. What they want to do is, the profits do go into certain business ecosystems for war, right? Schindler does make money building stuff for the Nazis. Certain people can profit and other people get destroyed. And then, of course, you can use the financial system to get rich, to rebuild after the big war. But we're in a situation now where we can't afford it. Economically, environmentally, basically wars now are ecocide, omnicide. They're immoral, they're unethical, they're wrong, and they should be prevented. And we should be working to prevent them. Any kind of activism you can do on a local level to help people think things through with critical thinking and with good data and facts and models and theories that really are rigorous and epistemically powerful and true will help. Everybody has to become an activist now. Everybody has to participate because too many people are just too vulnerable to the narratives that are being built to subdue and domesticate and pacify us. You know, you look at these videos, okay, so far, let's see, the guy's got like 4,600 likes or something and 390K subscribers. That's nothing, right? And people look at that and say, well, Kardashians have more than that. Why should I listen to these guys? I'll watch the Kardashians because they have more viewers. It's tragic, really. You just because you think you have no agency and no power doesn't mean that you can't have agency and power. You just have to teach yourself how to think, and then you have to get together with people and figure out what needs to be done and then do it. Whatever happens next, we have to have a plan in place, a model, ideas behind it. Yeah, ideology, philosophy, you know, but we also have to base it in reality, our ideologies and philosophies, and in reality, scientific reality. How does the world really work? You know, biology and so on, systems theory and whatever. Like I said, I think these AI thing is like a pump and dump. They got to get us afraid of AI, you know, like AGI, Sam Harris. It can learn everything in 2 seconds. What's it going to do? It'll kill us. He doesn't know shit about how large language models work, so-called artificial intelligence. It's not artificial. It's not intelligent. It's a computer running algorithms, crunching data. You know, it's so weird. We all think we know what it is because we understand the words artificial and intelligence and so on. And we've read some science fiction books, maybe, or a couple books on it, maybe, or maybe probably not. And so we're afraid of it. Therefore, we have to control it. We have to invest in it. We have to get ahead of this thing. And then the arms race starts, and it creates the thing we're hoping doesn't happen. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And, you know, if China gets it first, there we go. We're all speaking Mandarin. It's all over. We're fucking no freedom anymore. Whatever. But AGI, it's probably not going to happen because it takes a lot of energy and materials to, you know, the business ecosystem around these data centers is substantial. And it's going to take a long time. It's not going to be done wisely, obviously. It's going to be done for profit. That's the point. So you pump it up, you get people afraid of it, make all the VCs and everybody invest in it. Certain people make money shorting the market or buying low, selling high, hedge funds, whatever. You don't make a penny, you lose money. We live in a financialized world, so the central banks bail the bankers out. You get screwed. It's just another bubble. And I think this is true because I've been listening to people and reading people about how these LLMs work and what they actually do. And is it a killer app? Is it going to really improve our lives and our businesses and all that? Depends on what you think is an improvement. And I'm not going to get on the thread of talking about reducing our consumption, reducing our dependence on energy. In other words, having a 2 terawatt lifestyle rather than a 50,000 or whatever it is. You know, just like enjoying those bicycles and whatever. We want to consume more energy and more materials. That's the name of the game. But never mind that. We got to put a lot of energy, a lot of materials, a lot of money into this stuff. It's going to crash and burn. Even Microsoft is letting go of its data center leases now. So these 3 guys, Dan Hendricks, Eric Schmidt, and Alexander Wang. Hendricks is an American machine learning researcher. He serves as the director of the Center for AI Safety, a nonprofit organization based in San Francisco, California, soon to be a network state with its own cryptocurrency, whatever. Hendricks was raised in a Christian evangelical household in Marshfield, Missouri. He got a BS from the University of Chicago in 2018. He's a young guy, PhD, University, blah, blah, career research. So he's a thing in the AI thing. He was born in 1994. Ooh, youngster. But Eric Schmidt, he's a Microsoft dude. American businessman, former computer engineer who was the chief executive officer of Google from 2001 to 2011, company's executive chairman from 2011 to 2015. So he's a Bell Labs dude. He's a senior player, lots of credentials, and so on. So they wrote this paper called Superintelligence Strategy Expert Version. Here's the abstract. So, rapid advances in AI are beginning to reshape national security. This is important. Russians are coming to get us. China's coming to get us. AI is a big part of national security. You've got the Palestinian experiment, American and European and Israeli technology, testing out the new stuff on the battlefield, killing poor people. And we have a lot of good tech being tested in Ukraine too. So test them in the proxy wars to the last Ukrainian, to the last Russian, and then later to the last European, because America basically wants Europe to go in and wear down Russia and China. And they pay for it. Now, we're not going to help them. Otherwise, we're out. We're gone. And everybody's quaking in their boots. Oh, no, what'll we do without America? And then Macron comes along and says, don't worry, I have nukes. Well, you can be safe under our nuclear umbrella. And the UK and whatever. It's so fucking absurd. And they're doing this because they're careerists and they care more about profit and prestige and status than people or nature or life or anything. So destabilizing AI developments could rupture the balance of power. Oh, is there a balance of power? There's the American hegemon, the USA, running everything and hates anybody else who tries to do anything. And hopefully you're poor, and if you're poor, they bomb you into submission. And if you're not poor, they sanction the heck out of you and get closer and closer, building bases ever closer to your border, intimidating the shit out of you, trying to make you play the game their way, the rules-based order. While widespread proliferation of capable AI hackers and virologists would lower barriers for rogue actors to cause catastrophes. Superintelligence. AI vastly better than humans at nearly all cognitive tasks is now anticipated by AI researchers. See, I think this is an exaggeration. It's hyperbole. It's bullshit. And I think we're being trained right now to believe that this is just around the corner. Another 5 days and $5 billion, and we'll have it. In a second, we're going to be launching 20,000 rocket ships a day, building stuff on the moon. Trust me, it's not that hard. So we're being trained. Superintelligence AI vastly better than humans at nearly all cognitive tasks is now anticipated. What do they mean by cognitive tasks? We don't even know what consciousness is. I mean, yeah, neurology, brain science, all that stuff. It's still a lot of mystery there, but we know how AI is going to work. AI vastly better, right? Just as nations once developed nuclear strategies to secure their survival, we now need a coherent superintelligence strategy to navigate a new period of transformative change. So investors, get ready, invest in that ecosystem, AI ecosystem, throw your money in there. It's going to go up. By the time, we're dying of starvation because of global heating, you'll be a billionaire. You're getting your dividends every day, hanging out on the beach while hopefully in the shade, cooking. We introduced the concept of mutual assured AI malfunction, MAME. Another beautiful, scary acronym. Be scared. Chaos, fear is a moneymaker, people. Remember that. And whatever you have left to conquer, go out west, get a gold mine. You'll probably die, but maybe you'll get a gold mine. Those days are over. The low-hanging fruit is gone. But we have to do this. A deterrence regime resembling nuclear mutual assured destruction. MAD. Remember that MAD? Trump's like, yeah, the nuclear is terrible. It's a bad thing. I'd like to see him go away. But, we see eye to eye. Where any state aggressive bid for unilateral AI dominance is met with preventative sabotage by rivals. Given the relative ease of sabotaging a destabilizing AI project through interventions ranging from covert cyber attacks to potential kinetic strikes on data centers, let's blow up the data centers. It's going to be, and then we'll just build another one because it's easy. It's easy. We'll make a ton of those chips, we'll get 1 billion chips coming out every day. It's not that hard. We'll rebuild them and, blah, blah, blah. So we have to have this war now through, MAME already describes the strategic picture AI superpowers find themselves in. We must have war. Data centers in China must be destroyed. MAME already describes this picture. Alongside this, states can increase their competitiveness by bolstering their economies and militaries through AI. And they can engage in non-proliferation to rogue actors. Anyone who doesn't want to pay up to Uncle Sam is a rogue actor. Remember that. You all work. Immigrants work for Uncle Sam. Prisoners work for Uncle Sam. Everybody, works for. But you remember the labor arbitrage play. You've got to keep that going somehow all the time because you don't want to pay people a lot of money for their work. You don't make as much profit that way. If people in the States gave a shit about their life, they would be in a labor movement trying to get better working conditions and better pay and benefits. They wouldn't even be in a capitalist society if they cared, but they're just too ignorant and they don't want to know. These are bugaboo terms. They don't want to learn about it. So, all these socialist people have like 5,000 followers or whatever it is. And, they have fun talking about how things could be, but none of them are going to do anything to change anything. We just don't have the desire to, give up our cushy lives to do something. So this game's going to continue. Alongside this, states can increase their competitiveness by bolstering their economies and militaries through AI, and they can engage in non-proliferation to rogue actors to keep weaponizable AI capabilities out of their hands. Taken together, the three-part framework of deterrence, non-proliferation, and competitiveness outlines a robust strategy to superintelligence in the years ahead. So here these guys, these writers, are telling you, I'm going to make the money off of this, okay? And I know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to get you all scared to death that tomorrow Nicaragua or maybe, Uganda or somebody, or the Russians, Chinese for sure, are going to have AGI and they're going to wreck our data centers. They're going to be so much smarter than all the people in America who, believe in Jesus and, all that kind of stuff, and the invisible hand and whatnot, all the magical thinkers in the States. The technocrats are out there saying, there's a lot of money in this. We're going to get people really worked up about the AI, continue the forever war, and we're going to make shitloads of money because we're insider traders. We have all the info we need. So this is going to happen, and it's going to make the insider players really, really rich. If you have an investment strategy, you might want to start researching the AI war, forever war. business ecosystem and understand, where to buy low, sell high. Where are the minerals? Where are we going to get the rare earths? How are we going to do this, that? How are we going to train up all the workers we need for the chip foundries and the data centers and everything? How are we going to get these people, the robotics people, and the engineers? We're going to need them. We're going to have to bring them in, give them a visa, bring them in. It's immigration. We're going to have to bring in those colonialists who have the right education into the States so that they can do their duty and help Uncle Sam maintain his hegemony over the world. So this is all a big scam, but it's the same as the old scam. So executive summary here, this is really interesting. And, that's the idea. So it's just the same old thing dressed up in a different garb. And if you look into things from an energy perspective, a material stocks and flows perspective, systems perspective, sociological, economic, all these different perspectives, you'll see through it. And you'll understand that this is unnecessary. We could all slow down and work together in a wise fashion to develop technologies that make sense, that actually help people and ensure that we have a healthy ecosystem, that there's life on Earth, that the living systems on Earth that we all depend on for our existence are maintained and enhanced. The soil and stuff like that, the ocean. But no, we want to consume more because we think that makes us wealthy, even though we're miserable. Remember, when they talk in the States about fentanyl coming across the borders and whatever, who's buying the damn shit? Americans. Who's selling it to Americans? Americans. Why the fuck do you need those drugs? Why do you want them? If it's USA, if you're so damn good, so wonderful, why are you depressed? Why are you sick? Why are you, taking drugs to help you survive another day with your lifestyle illnesses and whatnot? There's lots of good people in the States, everywhere in Europe and so on. But all of us fall into this Euro, white, American, whatever, supremacy trap. And we think we know better. And we don't know shit. I mean, to start, we just have to admit we don't know shit. We don't know what we're talking about. And then if we're interested in learning about something, we have to do the work to learn about it. And so we might need some new skills in logic or in engineering or in physics or in math or in language or something. I've got to read a book. I'm not a very good reader, whatever. None of these tools are going to help you that much. They can help you a bit. It can help you with your workflow, but it's not going to replace human beings collaborating in a healthy network of real people coming up with stuff. Think about how they figured out that controlled burning was good. How to make an igloo entrance that kept the interior of the igloo more warm. How to make a Kyudo bow in Japan. I mean, the iterative generation after generation of collaboration and experimentation and oh God, it's just amazing. And we come up with these amazing things and then we use them in the dumbest way just to make a few people super, super bloody, stinking, ugly rich when they don't need to be that rich. We can't talk about taxing them. Taxes, taxes, taxes. What do you get out of it? Nothing. Hardly anything. You're like so happy that you got an extra $100 last year and you're going to vote for the guy again for that. But what did the other people get? They shelter their wealth all over the place. I'm not asking you to read Thomas Piketty It's complicated stuff, hard to get through. It was a grind for me to read that, and there were a lot of things I didn't understand about it. Even reading some of the graphs was difficult for me, so I had to pause. It took a long time, but you can learn from that. You can learn from simpler things. You just have to know where to look, and beware that you're being trained all the time on AI and advertising and PR and the news. And it's the outrage cycle. It's minute by minute, second by second. You're getting hit with this stuff. And everything has to be new and exciting. The whole endocrine bomb, you have to have this hyperstimulation all the time or you get bored. I'm watching these people flick through their phones like they just can't pause on anything. To read a paragraph is too difficult. So we're all going insane. None of this is going to help us. Non-proliferation, competitiveness. But this is a good paper because they do talk about these things. Beyond securing their survival, states will have an interest in harnessing AI to bolster their competitiveness. Competitiveness for what? How competitive do you need to be? You want to play tennis or pickleball, or you want to play backgammon or chess or Go, or you want to wrestle, take some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you want to play basketball. I mean, how competitive do you need to be? What does it mean to be competitive? To control markets, to make more money, to become, you have to have, you need this 0 to 1 strategy that Peter Thiel talks about. It's a waste, and it's killing us, and it's going to kill us. Way before we get to AGI and these miraculous perpetual motion machines and energy machines and replicators, whatever, we're going to be dead. We'll have starved to death and left this mortal coil. Other species of hominid survived for a long, long time. And they did it simply by being animals. And we're still animals, but we're the kind of animal that has to exploit and use up and kill everything. And that's really our project, is omnicidal. It's not a guilt trip. It's not a shame. I'm not trying to shame you or anybody or make you feel guilty. It's just the way we are. But we don't have to be this way. We can learn to be different. And there have always been examples, and still are today. You can look around you when you go to the shopping mall, of ways of doing things differently and living in peace and harmony and all that kind of stuff. Using less energy. Would you be willing to use less energy if it meant that your grandchildren or your children had a chance to live a happy, healthy life without having to go to war with China, go to war with Russia, go to war with all our enemies? We have to encroach, we have to bully, we have to vandalize, we have to take, we have to control, until the other side says, fuck it. The only thing I can do is fight now. And then we send down our soldiers and our technology and we kill them. But basically, we're these days, for the last, since World War II, we've been killing poor people. The Balkans, Yemen, we came, we saw, we killed him, Gaddafi, woo, whippy, yahoo. It's not a fair fight, and we get nothing out of it. Unless you're an investor, unless you're Big Short kind of, quantitative genius, you can do the math, you're on the spectrum, and you can see it coming. There's going to be a subprime mortgage crisis. I'm going to short it. And, if that's the case, you're rich, you're happy, you're on your yacht, you're looking at me like I'm an idiot. Sometimes I think, the only way to be smart in this world is to join them. Be an American psycho. Completely dark tetrad. Learn how to be, if you're a nice guy, learn how to be violently horrifically greedy. Embrace the 7 deadly sins. Don't fight it. I am not satanic. I am not the devil. I'm just telling you, this is the way the system works. And if you want to be a success, you've got to adopt the 7 deadly sins. And you have to understand that the way you protect yourself from these transgressions is to have a lot of money. Because then you can afford the suits, you can afford the suits who do the lawsuits, and you can afford all the advisors and the support, the staff that you need to protect yourself, including your private security team. So that's where we're at. We're being conned into this thing. This AI thing is a big scam. It's a pump and dump. It's a con. We have to keep Uncle Sam, the ideologues in the West, have to keep the perpetual war machine going forever. And we have to make you believe that China and Russia are behind it. If not, it's the socialists in Central or South America, or it's the commies in Vietnam, or, it's the unruly African people. We went in, we wrecked it. We brought our culture there. We did our crusades over and over and over again, and we won. And what came of it? Really? Okay, 2-car garage, Ford F-250. Season tickets to the Knicks, whatever it is. You're totally happy. You get to go to your favorite chain restaurant. It's all good. God loves you a lot. Pray with me. Okay, that's fine. You're happy. You got enough. But I'm telling you, it's not going to last. We're getting to the end of it. We've conquered everything. The low-hanging fruit. We built the Large Hadron Collider, the Space Telescope, the International Space Station. We've walked on the moon. We've done all these amazing things. We have all this fantastic technology. And we're headed towards disaster. What, you don't think so? It's all good? The future looks bright? Most people don't think that way. If you look at polls, international polls, people are concerned about climate change. They're concerned about inequality. They're concerned about the environment. But the players don't give a fuck. They don't care. Because they can't profit on a more reasonable, reality-based, science-based, evidence-based, spiritual, caring, considerate, loving, compassionate, ethical, moral way of life. They don't get the kind of status and the kind of things and the kind of power and the kind of houses and furnishings. If they play like that, they're going to be a poor slob like me, an idiot, a fool. And so they don't want to be that dumb. And people who crash and burn out of the system like I did, who wanted to be a filthy rich when I was younger and didn't quite get there. Some of us just laugh it off and say, oh, well, it wasn't meant to be. Do something else. Other people kill themselves over it or become alcoholics, drug addicts. They just can't take it, I understand, you want to have that power, prestige, you flipping through Playboy magazine to learn how to dress for success, What kind of Lamborghini does he drive? As if you need a freaking Lamborghini. You'd have much more fun just riding a bicycle through the park, in my opinion. It can be fun to drive a race car, but we have racetracks for that. It'd be great if we could just go to a racetrack, rent a Lamborghini with an instructor, drive it around really fast, have the thrill, and so on. Or if we want to drive in the Tacoma from Milan, we just go to Milan, rent a Ferrari, drive to Como, drop it off, Then when you're in Como, you get your bicycle, ride around the lake, It's kind of fun. But we think we need this stuff. After we get the Ferrari, we don't care about it anymore. It's a boring Ferrari. We got to get another one. You know, it's like collecting knives. I have a knife collection. Why do I need so many knives? You know, I got traditional ones like this one here from Scandinavia, from Finland. I got like little pen knives that I put on my keychains with little tweezers on it, stuff like that. It's stupid. But, you know, I think knives are kind of like, you know, flaking off tools. You need them for processing hides and cutting meat and all kinds of things. It's kind of primordial desire to have sharp things, tools. So just opposable thumbs. Oh my God. In imagination, I can build tools. Well, I can talk to people. Wow, that's amazing. You know, write something down. Oh, the printing press. Oh, Jesus, the Bible in my language. Wow. You know, yeah, we're pretty clever little animals, but we're not wise. And this is a problem. This is going to cause big trouble. It already is. I look at the weather in the States. It's so amazing to me. I don't remember it being as volatile as it is now. The whiplash, all these events that are happening. I think people just watch their news and they, bit by bit, they're trained to think that this is just normal. It's always been like this. And, you know, I don't know. I've never seen a bug on my windshield. I don't believe bugs were ever on people's windshields. I think that's fake news. Nonsense. You don't need bugs. You know, stuff like that. Extinction? Who cares? There's plenty of things. We have enough cows, pigs, and chickens. You know, who cares? Whale poop. Does it matter? Who cares? You know, food chains, whatnot. You know, people just get so accustomed to what they think and what they're hearing that they just think this is the way it is. There were always escalators and elevators. Always. You know, we always had cryptocurrency. What? Back in the day, they what? Cuneiform? It's just unfortunate that we don't think things through, honestly. So, to summarize, the AI thing is a scam. We don't have to fear it. We have to wisely develop it in concert with networks of wise people around the world from various nation states. We have to cooperate with one another to do it right. And also, the NATO thing is just a proxy for oligarchs to replace Russian oligarchs with their own oligarchs to control the spice. And they don't want to compete with China fair square, so they have to kill it. And one of the fear mechanisms is China AI, oh my God, we're all going to be speaking Mandarin. So, you know, it's fear the commies, fear the this, fear the that, perpetual war. We got to keep that going. That's the profitable thing. Chaos, volatile markets, buy low, sell high. Stock market crashes. Trump says, I don't know. I'm not even looking at it. When it goes up, he's going to say, we have the biggest stock market in the world. It's huge. It's beautiful. It's so strong. Everybody's getting rich. How's your pension doing? You know. And when it goes down, it's like, I don't know, I'm not even looking at it. So it's just stupid. And we are like cult followers. We just want to believe. We're not going to ask any questions. We're not going to learn about anything. We're just going to believe it's going to work out because my clique likes it, believing it. Study the history of religion in the United States. Why is there a Bible Belt? What happened there? What happened to the Quakers and all these different kinds of people? Why are there secular humanists? What happened there? Why? All this kind of stuff. You know, there's a long history behind it. And it's fascinating. It just didn't sprout up overnight. Just like these enmities and wars just don't happen overnight. You just don't wake up in the morning and invade another country on your border. Trump, if he invades Mexico for whatever reason, it's going to be the right reasons. because it's Western-centric supremacy. So it has to be the right reasons. So yeah, if we do it, it's all good, rules-based. International law doesn't matter to the United States, never has. So there's no way to enforce anything. It's up to Americans to save America, and if they don't want to do it, eventually you're going to be left with a balkanized North America in really bad shape. There's still going to be really wildly wealthy people for another 20, 40 years, but that's coming to an end too. And why should you care about any of this? I don't know. Have a nice day. Buliamti. Out.